और दूसरी तरफ इसी दरमियान अरुण जेटली जी का निधन हो गया। तो अब जब
Right, so those are some pictures there of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's in fact arrived in the country after his visit to the G7. He is at Arun Jaitley's residence to pay his respects to the family of Arun Jaitley there in the national capital. Remember, the Prime Minister was away at the G7 at the time that the G7, and in fact in the Middle East before that, at the time that Mr. Jaitley passed away over the weekend, and he's now paying his respects at the residence of the Jaitley family there in the national capital. We saw the leaders, including Mr. Amit Shah, Home Minister, and BJP President, in fact, also meeting the family earlier today, just a few minutes ago, and now the Prime Minister is at the Jaitley residence to pay his own respects. The Prime Minister put out a series of tweets on the day that Mr. Jaitley passed away on Saturday, in fact, describing Mr. Jaitley as a friend, and using, in fact, and talking about his contribution to the nation and to his government, and the role that Mr. Jaitley played in advising him in various capacities on a series of subjects. The Prime Minister, in fact, now at the residence of Mr. Jaitley in the capital. Right, so we're just bringing pictures there of, this is the Jaitley residence in the national capital, where the Prime Minister and Home Minister Amit Shah are paying their respects, meeting the family of Arun Jaitley, his wife and his children, his son and daughter there who are in those pictures. The Prime Minister, in fact, as I said, put out a series of tweets on the day that Mr. Jaitley passed away on Saturday, paying their respects. In fact, the Prime Minister spoke about the close relationship that they shared, and in fact, the Prime Minister was in the Middle East at the time when Mr. Jaitley passed away, then went on to the G7, something that was scheduled. The family, in fact, from what we understand, asked the Prime Minister not to cut short his trips, to finish those key meetings and then come to India. And therefore, we're seeing the Prime Minister now, the first thing that he's done, one of the first things he's done, rather, since he arrived back to the country, is meet the family of Arun Jaitley. Right, so there's the Prime Minister with the family of Arun Jaitley, his son, his daughter, and his wife. Mr. Jaitley, remember, passed away at the age of 66 in the national capital at AIIMS, where he had been admitted since the 9th of August, suffering from various issues. He, in fact, was on life support over the last few days before he passed away on Saturday.